Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of A Gardener's Journey Homestead. I am Barbara, and today I'm in the kitchen and we're gonna make tomato sauce or spaghetti sauce. I haven't quite figured out which one I'm gonna make, but definitely a tomato sauce base for sure. So we're gonna use all the tomatoes that I saved in the freezer from the summer garden, and we're gonna make some sauce today. So I'm excited. My freezer is full of tomatoes. And so one, I need the space as I'm gathering stuff from the fall harvest, but it's a good time to get it done. It's about to be December. So again, this is a perfect way. If you have a summer garden and you're trying to make tomato sauce in the summer when it's all hustle and bustle, more power to you. Me, I don't have time for that. So I just use whatever I'm going to use fresh, and then the rest of them I put in the freezer so that I can make sauce later. So I've only done this one other time. So I'm still kind of new at this, but I'm going to show you the method that I did the last time. We may have a few variations. We'll see, but let's get to it. Now, this is going to be a process, meaning the way I'm doing is I'm actually using a roaster oven. So this is a Nesco 18-quart roaster oven. Instead of me trying to do this over the stove, watch it, and take up a lot of my time, I'm going to do it this way. This is the way that I did it the last time. And it worked out great. Ideally, what I wanted to do was to start this last night, but just couldn't quite pull it all together. So it's about almost 10 a.m. in the morning. This is probably going to be an all-day process into the next day. We're going to let the roaster do its job. So I'm going to go ahead and plug this up. And I'm putting some water in here, just because the tomatoes are frozen. So I'm just gonna dump all these frozen tomatoes. Now, let's see. I did core these tomatoes before I put them in the freezer. Now, the last time I did this, I did not, because I didn't know any better. But for these, I did core them. And we did a lot of this together, but you can see that's just a cherry tomato that was stuck in there. But I've already cored them and all of that. So we're just putting all of these in here right now. This is 4 bags. I got plenty more in the freezer. So you can kind of see. You can kind of see already that those 4 bags. Yeah, it's pretty much filled. I think I can get 1 more bag in here, maybe 2. So let me go grab 2 more from the freezer. Okay, I grabbed 2 more bags from the freezer. Now, the reason why I put the water in the bottom of the roaster so that it doesn't stick, because these are frozen solid, right? Now, I could have thawed these out ahead of time and then try to peel the skins. I'm not going to do that. And the last time I made the tomato sauce, it wasn't cored, it wasn't de-seeded, nor was it peeled. And you can still see some of the seeds like in there a little bit. So it wasn't the smoothest, best looking. It was my first time, but I still used it, and I used it in lasagna, so it didn't even matter. You couldn't see the seeds once it got all mixed up with everything else. So this time at least it's cored. I'm not going to take the time to peel it. Why? Because I don't have time. And I've heard that the taste, it doesn't really change the taste. I couldn't tell. Well, I'm not going to say I could tell the difference. I've never done it where I peel the tomatoes. But yeah, these are going in here all frozen. You can see that there. And while I'm working today, it'll start cooking down, and I'll give you some periodic check-ins that you see how things are going. And this is a blend of all kinds of tomatoes. So I have paste tomatoes, obviously. And I already know next year I want to do more paste tomatoes, because paste tomatoes are better for tomato sauce because the walls are thick. It has less juice and less seeds, which is perfect when you're making sauce because it won't be as runny. It'll give you a thicker sauce without having to cook it down so much. When you use tomatoes like cherry tomatoes, they're really watery, really runny. And so it's hard for you to get a thick sauce without doing it forever and a day. So, but there's all kinds of tomatoes in here. There's Cherokee purple, there's paste, there's Amish paste, there's Roma, you name it. is in here. This bag is frozen solid, so I'm gonna have to let this thaw out a little bit. But it's gonna be like 6 bags of tomatoes to start with. And y'all, I had no idea to kind of think about and measure how many tomatoes I had. So it's gonna be interesting to see how much sauce I get out of this. But that's 6, with this right here, it's gonna be 6 bags of tomatoes. And I still have probably 10 bags in the freezer. So excited. So maybe I can make tomato sauce and then I can do spaghetti sauce with the other batch. Or as this cooks down, I could keep adding tomatoes. I don't know yet. We're gonna figure it out together as we go along the way. So I'm gonna go ahead and, I don't know how high I had turned up last time. I should have wrote some directions down. Let's start with 300. We're gonna start with 300. It goes from 200 to 450. This Nesco roaster, I love it. Love it, love it, love it. It's great to have for stuff like this. And then obviously if you eat meat and stuff like that, you can do, meats and stuff in here. But I've done chili in here. What else have I done in here? I don't remember. But anyway, great. This is the 18 quart. I'm even thinking now, man, maybe I should have, I don't know if it comes in 22 quart. 22 quart would be even better because I have more space. But I'm going to go ahead and get this going. I'm going to put the top on. I'll check in. I have meetings all day today. So I'll check in. I got meetings for like the next 4 hours. So we'll do a check later on this afternoon and see how things are percolating, and we'll adjust as we need to. But I'm excited because today or tomorrow, we're going to have some sauce homemade from the summer garden tomatoes. So let's see how this goes. Okay. So this is about 2.5 hours later. It's about 12:30 p.m. And you can see it's pretty, when I say soupy, meaning you can see the water that I put in there. And so I'm about to add more tomatoes. And 1, it'll take up some of this water, and 2, because I have the space. So you can kind of see the consistency. Obviously the goal is for this to thicken up. I ended up putting my thing on 400 or so to go ahead and get it cranking, and I think it's doing a good job for 2.5 hours. So I went and grabbed some more tomatoes out of the freezer. So this will be bag 7 and bag 8. And this is bag 8, but this is like a quart size bag. The other ones were more gallon size. I'm gonna have to let these thaw because I can already tell it's not gonna want to come out. So I'll just sit this right here and let it thaw, and then I'll add that in there. And I still have more tomatoes in the freezer. I'm so excited. So this is bag 7 that I just put in there, and these are mostly paste tomatoes. This is the Amish paste. So I think the last time that I did this, I used the tomatoes from last year. And I want to say I had maybe 4 or 5 bags. And I ended up getting 2 jars of sauce, 2 or 3 jars of sauce. I think it was 3. And then 2 quarts of broth. So the ones that I made last time when I made the sauce, it was mostly, cherry tomatoes. So it was very runny, soupy. I got it thick, but not as thick. And so what I would do is, and I'll probably do the same thing here once it gets down a little bit, I would just drain off the juice, and I don't want to add this because it got water in it, but I'll just show you. I would just drain off the juice, and I actually saved that juice, and that juice made a good tomato broth. I de-seeded it and got all the seeds out, and I just had tomato juice broth. Now, obviously you could use that to flavor rice and things like that. I think that's how I use it, and I use it for something else. So even though it may be, I just use the word soupy, but it may have more liquid than what you want, you can drain that liquid off and save it. And I ended up getting, I think, 2 quarts of liquid off of the last time. So it'll be interesting to see what happens this time. But we're 2.5 hours in, going well. Now you may say, hey, Barbara, you could have done this a lot quicker if you would have thought it all out and then just, did it yourself on the stove. I could, but it's going to take more of my time personally. And I like doing it this way. And so we're going to keep going and I'll check in with you later. Okay, guys, it is around 4:30. So we're about 6.5 hours in. You can see that we are percolating right along. I added two more bags of tomatoes, 3 more bags, I think, 2 or 3. So it's a total of 8 or 9 bags. I don't remember. I lost count. Okay, it was 9 bags. That's what it was. So I added 3 more bags for a total of 9. And I have 8 left in the freezer, in the deep freezer. So I had a total of 17 bags of tomatoes. Yay! So excited. So what you see here is like the peels. I've just been collecting them, so to speak. So the peels are automatically like coming off in here. So as I see them, like here you can see, I just put them in the cup and since I didn't peel them ahead of time, but since the peels are coming off, then I'm just taking what I can and putting them in the cup. Now I've heard that you can dehydrate the peels and make like the, I guess then grind it up into like tomato powder. I've heard that you can do that, but yeah, we're percolating right along. I'm pretty sure this is going to go until tomorrow because at this point, I'm not going to can it tonight. And I need to decide if I'm going to make spaghetti sauce or tomato sauce because I have 8 more bags in the freezer. I could do a batch of each is what I could do. Could do spaghetti sauce and then tomato sauce. Although it doesn't feel like those 8 bags seems as much as this right here, but it's only a difference of a bag. And some of the bags I put in here were quart size. The majority of them were gallon size. So, I don't know. I'm going to figure it out. I know with the spaghetti sauce, of course, you're going to add your seasonings, your onions, your peppers. And if I do that, I definitely have to pressure can for sure. If I don't do it as spaghetti sauce, and I just do it as plain tomato sauce, then I can add the lemon juice and then I can water bath can it, which is what I did the last time. So, as I'm thinking through, you guys tell me what you did with your tomatoes. Anybody that makes sauce on a regular basis. Of course, if you do the tomato sauce, it's a plain base. You can always make it into spaghetti sauce, like season it up, flavor it up. But I'm thinking, I don't usually just buy tomato sauce. Not usually. I buy a lot of spaghetti sauce. So I definitely use spaghetti sauce. And I use spaghetti sauce in my lasagna, obviously for spaghetti. I could do some pizza sauce. Like I really want to get into like pizza sauce. I want to make ketchup, but that's not going to be this year. That's probably be next year because I want to make sure I can make this first. And I want to see how many jars it gets me and how that translates into what I use and all that. So this is definitely a new part of the journey. I'm just trying to figure it out. But eventually I would like to make ketchup, pizza sauce, spaghetti sauce, and tomato sauce. So yeah, I'm gonna give it some more thought. But this is how we're cooking and looking. I'm just gonna let it do its thing. I'm gonna let it do its thing overnight. And I'm hoping that in the morning it'll be thicker. I may drain off some of this juice. We'll just see how it goes. I'll be up for, we got 5 or 6 more hours before bedtime. So we'll see how it does. And maybe I'll check back in one more time before I go to bed and let you see the consistency and what it's looking like. But pretty much the consistency is about the same as it was before. It's kind of soupy, so to speak. But all the tomatoes are breaking down. So we'll see what happens after that. But I'll check in later. Okay, guys, it is now 9 o'clock at night. So the sauce has been going for, 10 hours? 10 hours. And again, first, let me just say this. Don't be scared and overwhelmed thinking, oh my goodness, it has to take this long. It doesn't have to take this long. I'm just letting it take this long because of my schedule today. But let me show you. So you can see how runny the sauce is. Obviously, I want it to be thicker than that, but you can see pretty much we have just sauce. Like all the tomatoes have pretty much, what's the word? Not disintegrated, but you know what I mean. What I did do that I didn't show on camera is that I did take my immersion blender and I blended it up just to get it more of a smooth consistency, just to kind of speed up the process. It was pretty much, I would say 70% there, and there were still, you know, skins in there and some of the cherry tomatoes that hadn't broken down yet. So I took the immersion blender. I have the Vitamix immersion blender, which is a horse. It is a beast. It is awesome. So I use that to blend it up. And then I have the skins that I'm putting in my dehydrator, but I'm not using my regular dehydrator, my Excalibur. I'm using, I have a Ninja Grill something. Anyway, it has a dehydrate function. I'll show you that. I'm using that one to test it out because I've never tried the dehydrate function and because it was a much smaller batch. And I've kind of put my dehydrator up for the fall and got it off my counter, so I didn't want to lug that back out. But you can see here, it's a nice color, nice red and rich, but I want it to be thicker. So I have turned this down to 200. I'm gonna let this simmer all night long. Everything I read said in about 6 hours it should thicken up. Now you can thicken it with like cornstarch and all of that. I don't want to do that. I want to see how it will naturally thicken up on its own. So fingers crossed. I'm hoping that in the morning when I wake up, it is much, much thicker. If not, then we'll figure out something different. And the reason why I don't want to use the cornstarch, one, for a couple of reasons. I don't know that I can with that in there. I haven't looked it up and I haven't checked. So let's see what happens. But let me show you the tomato skins that I have dehydrating in the Ninja. Okay, so this is the Ninja that I have, and this was a gift from my brother. So it has all the bells and whistles. So you can see it has a dehydrate function. So let me just pop this open so you can see. So those are all the tomato skins right there. So I'm going to dehydrate them, see what happens. And the goal is to turn this into tomato powder that we can add to the tomato powder we already have. So this is good night for now. We're going to see what happens in the morning when I get up. The goal is to have a thicker sauce. I have the dehydrator in the Ninja on 135 degrees, and I put it on there for 10 hours. That may or may not be enough time, but we'll see where it is. And if it's not where I want it to be, then we'll just keep it going and we'll just go from there. But we'll see what happens. Okay, y'all, it's the next day. Let me bring you up to speed. So I was worried about my tomato sauce last night. I felt like I didn't even sleep good. Anyway, let me bring you up to speed. So last night before I went to bed, I showed you what it looked like. This morning, I got up and the sauce was not thick the way I wanted it. It was still more liquefied, and that's not what I wanted. I wanted it to be a thicker sauce. So I took the sauce and I put it in my Vitamix for a couple reasons. One, I wanted to kind of pulse or get rid of the seeds and the skin and to make it really, really, really smooth. It was smooth last night, but you could still see a lot of the seeds in there. So I did that with the Vitamix, and then I transferred it to a stock pot to put it on the stove with the top off. I did try with the last night with the roaster, the top was on it the whole night, and so it didn't thicken. So when I was Googling, it was saying stock pot uncovered. So I uncovered the roaster this morning for like an hour or two, still was not getting thick. I don't know what's the difference between this time and last time. And last time I did it, it got thicker. So I'm not sure. Anyway, I transferred it to a stock pot. Let me show you what's going on. It has reduced. It is getting thicker. Just still, I wanted it thick, and it's not thick the way I want it. But let me show you what it looks like. Okay, that is what it looks like. So you can see at the top where the red marks are, that's where the sauce started. It was up top. So it has reduced about half. And this has been in the last hour and a half. And y'all, as I put my spoon in there, it is thickening up. Okay, so you can see the dehydrated tomatoes. It has like an hour left, but it's pretty much done for the most part. You can see it definitely did its job. I'm gonna grind this up and make tomato powder to add to the tomato powder that we already did earlier this year. Or one other thing that I could do or could have done, if my sauce wasn't thickening the way I want, I could have put this in my sauce and blended it up and thickened it that way. So there's a couple of different uses that you can use with this, but you can kind of see the texture. It's dry. There are a few pieces that are still kind of leathery instead of crisp. So I'll let that keep going, but for the most part, it's done. So that was a good experiment. Now, I really like having this Ninja with this dehydrated option because that's great. It pretty much, the Ninja's already on my counter anyway. And so that's great for that function right there when you have something small, like if you're dehydrating herbs or something like that, and I don't have to get out my big dehydrator. That is perfect. Perfect. So I'm glad that I have this option on this Ninja, and that worked out great. I didn't know if it was gonna work, but it did. So that's a win. Let's get our jars and we're gonna start getting this tomato sauce canned up. Okay, so all of the tomatoes got dehydrated, so you can see there. I'm debating on whether I want to leave them like this and I can use them to thicken up a sauce or something like that, or if I want to dehydrate and add it to my tomato powder. I'm leaning towards what do you call it, grinding it up and making it more tomato powder is what I'm leaning towards. But it might be nice to have this as an option as well, because I saw somebody else like save theirs and they can just use it to like make stuff thicker. So we'll see what happens on that. But let me show you, we're done with canning. I ended up getting 6 quarts of tomato sauce. It's pretty, if I must say so myself. Let me show you. There it is. 6 quarts. Okay, look at my beautiful 6 quarts. It's like deep, rich color. When I was doing it in the Vitamix, you know, kind of pureeing it, it was turning like more of an orange color. I think just because of the air, the oxidization, if I'm saying that right. Just it incorporating the air kind of turned it into like more of an orange. But once I put it back in the stock pot and start simmering it down to make it thick, it turned back this nice, rich red color, and it's thick too. Love it. I'm so excited. This turned out even better than the first time. Like I didn't get it as thick this first time. Just goes to show you, last 24 hours, there's been some ups and downs, some emotions with this tomato sauce. I didn't think we would get here. So I got 6 quarts, and it's also showing me how many tomatoes you need to get a lot of tomato products. So all of that was like 9 frozen bags of tomatoes that we started off with. And it was like, I don't know, up really high on my canner when it was real more liquefied. But then as it got thicker, it reduced like by half. And I ended up getting 6 quarts. So if I want to make barbecue sauce and pizza sauce and ketchup, I'm going to need a whole lot more tomatoes. Because I'm trying to think, when I make spaghetti for the family, I can usually get away with 1 jar of sauce. If I'm like making a lasagna, I usually want that to be more saucy. It'll probably be 2 jars. So, and I don't make lasagna often, like not often at all. I probably make spaghetti once a month. So it's not like we eat spaghetti it's not one of those weekly things that we eat every week. So once a month, that could make it until the summer. But remember, we still have those other tomatoes in the freezer that I think we're gonna do spaghetti sauce with. So we'll see kind of how it goes. And by the time next summer hits, I'll see how many I went through. If I went through all of them, how quick did it go? And that'll help me as I'm planning on how many tomatoes to put out in the summer. When I say it's a journey, it is really a journey. Learning as I go. But I'm proud of my beautiful sauce. I am proud. You can't tell me nothing today. You can't tell me nothing today. Your girl has made tomato sauce that looks all pretty. I'm excited, y'all. And I'm so excited because last night I was like, this ain't looking right. This ain't working. It just goes to show you, keep going. Don't stop. Don't quit. Don't give up. Keep going. First time may not look right. First time it may not be cute for pictures, but then the second time you get better. So I'm gonna try to do my other tomatoes next week. And we'll decide if we're gonna do spaghetti sauce, get fancy with it and do some pizza sauce. I don't know what the difference would be. We're gonna do some seasoned tomato sauce. I think that's what I'm gonna try to do. And I'm gonna do a little bit of a different process and see how I like it. But that's it. We have tomato sauce. We have some dehydrated tomatoes that either we can keep to thicken up some sauces, or we can turn into tomato powder, which if we have tomato powder, we can make tomato paste. Tomatoes are versatile. Can do a lot of stuff. But now I see it's going to take a lot of tomatoes depending on how many tomato products my family uses. And I really don't know because I don't think about it, but I'm going to be more conscious of it so I know if we need to go big on tomatoes next summer. Yes, 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 yes. Well, thank you guys so much for hanging in here with me for the last 24 hours. Of course, when you see it, it'll be all put together. But thank you for hanging in here with me. Thank you for watching. I hope that you learned something. I hope that you got encouraged. If you have tips of something maybe I should have done differently or a different way to think about it, please put them down below. I can try it the next time because we still got 8 more bags in the freezer. Let me know. Let me know. Let me know. I appreciate you guys so, so much. If you like what you're seeing and you have not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe. This is what you're going to get. Me, real life in the garden, in the kitchen, trying to understand, trying to figure out this homesteading, sustainable lifestyle, and just taking you along with me. And hopefully I'm teaching you and entertaining you as we go. Remember, it's all a journey. Until next time, let's grow together. Can't wait to see you next time, friend.